Good evening, and welcome once again to the Shadow Gallery. I am, as always, your host, James Donnelly. And we're going to shake it up. We're going to do a movie review right now. We're going to do a review for the film Horrible Bosses, which, if it were any other weekend, it would have opened up probably at #1, but still, it was against Transformers 3, which is still raking in some buku bucks. Anyway, interesting side note, I actually saw Horrible Bosses at the drive-in. I have not been to a drive-in in 19 years. The last film that I saw at a drive-in, the last two films I saw at a drive-in, was in the summer of 1992. And it was a double feature of Lethal Weapon 3 and The Last Boy Scout. I fucking love The Last Boy Scout. So that's just a piece of history for me. I'd already seen Lethal Weapon 3 and I didn't care for it. I think I saw it anyway, but me and my other friends, we had, anyway. Okay, Horrible Bosses. Jason Bateman, Jason Sudekis, Charlie Day, Kevin Spacey, Colin Farrell, Jennifer Aniston. Comedy gold, right? I mean, this has got to be some funny shit. Not really. Okay, so premise: all these guys have horrible bosses. Jason Bateman's character, he's been working the same, he's been pulling like these 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. shifts at this whatever company, this nameless corporate whatever, for years upon years. He's been killing himself for this promotion. Kevin Spacey is his boss. Kevin Spacey decides to give that job to himself. He is already the president of this company, but decides to make himself the senior vice president of this other division, basically just proving how big of a douchebag he is, okay? And that he's also a total psycho. He's fiercely jealous of, he's fiercely suspicious of his wife and men that are banging her, or that other men are banging her. Jason Sudekis' character, he's an accountant. He works for a, like chemical waste company, and he's working for Donald Sutherland, is his boss, and he's a great guy. Jason Sudekis loves him. He thinks he's a great guy. He's got this son, though, that's a total cokehead douchebag, played by Colin Farrell, with a hilarious comb-over, and, this kind of rotund belly. It's just, it's awesome. And Charlie Day, he is a registered sex offender because he urinated at night in a public playground. No children were around, but still, since technically it's a place where children come to play, it's indecent exposure, and he has to be a registered sex offender. He's a dental hygienist. The only person that would give him a job is the ultra-sexy Jennifer Aniston, who is basically sexually harassing him at every turn. Charlie Day resists her advances because he is engaged to a woman that we barely see throughout the film. And, respects so much the sanctity of marriage that he won't do anything to violate his fiance's trust. So, going back to Jason Sudekis now, he dies almost immediately. Donald Sutherland does, which is good for Donald Sutherland because I don't know how long he actually would have wanted to be in this film. And then, of course, Colin Farrell is his son. He takes over the business. He starts doing all of his douchebag cokehead shit. And they all get, wouldn't it be great if our bosses weren't around? Basically, wouldn't it be great if our bosses were dead? and they hire, basically they start thinking about it, they start desiring it, then all of a sudden it's Jamie Foxx. They go to the worst bar in town, whatever town this actually is supposed to be. I think it's Los Angeles. And they basically decide that they're going to try and find somebody. They're going to try and find a hitman, because each of them would have a motive for killing their boss. And they find Jamie Foxx, who plays Motherfucker Jones, which is probably one of the better gags in the film, the fact that his first name is Motherfucker. And he becomes their murder consultant, because he spent some time behind bars for doing some really bad shit. So he basically tells them, okay, well, you kill each other's bosses. And of course, the hilarity is supposed to ensue as these inept three guys try and, who are really good friends, try and kill their bosses. The film doesn't work on most levels. It's not really the fault of the actors. It's the fault of the writers. There's not there's not an overabundance of laugh out loud moments. There are a lot of moments that don't even really incite a chuckle. It's getting some really good reviews, and I don't really understand why. The weak link here, as far as the entire film is concerned, is the Jennifer Aniston, Charlie Day plot, for two reasons. First of all, it's definitely the weakest idea in the film. To cast somebody as hyper sexy as Jennifer Aniston, especially in this film, as, okay, well, this is the person you don't want to have sex with. If they cast, for instance, the large woman from Bridesmaids, I can't remember her name. Somebody just that you would not want to have sex with, and have her doing this stuff all the time. Now that's kind of an inspired idea, but having somebody who is totally fuckable, unbelievably so, and then have them be, well, fuck me, and then having the guy say no, that's, first of all, it's a little unrealistic. And Charlie Day is definitely the weak link of this film all around, because he's the obnoxious one. He's the guy that you want to shut the fuck up, like, furiously throughout this film. You just want him to be quiet, because he's like the hyperactive one. He really grates after about 30 minutes or so. And then, of course, the more he gets involved in the film, the more grating he becomes. The other major problem with this film is that it does not go where it should go. There was a rather funny comedy that came out a lot of years ago now, called The Ice Harvest, with John Cusack, Billy Bob Thornton, Oliver Platt, Connie Nielsen, Randy Quaid, before he went totally insane. It was directed by Harold Ramis. This was a very, very, very dark comedy. A couple years ago, we had the brilliant In Bruges, with Colin Farrell again, Ray Fiennes, and Brendan Gleeson. That's a great movie. I just saw it again the other day. Now, these are films that go for that, I'm going to make you really fucking uncomfortable for a while, but we're still going to find the humor that's peripheral to this uncomfortable moment, or moments. it's not totally bleak, but these are noirish comedies. And that's where this film really fails, is that where it has the chance to really, make this a dark comedy for adults, rather than just, more potty mouth bullshit that has no real, it's just dull. It's just, there's no real good laughs in the film. There's not an inspired idea throughout the entire film. I knew from almost moment one, when you meet the character of Motherfucker Jones, that when you actually find out what he was in prison for, it's going to be some real chicken shit thing. And because that's how uninspired this film is. There's not really an original or unpredictable idea or unpredictable direction that the film really takes. And it could. It could go in any number of directions, and I guess that's not just why I didn't like it. I didn't like it because of the film that it wasn't. I disliked it because of the film that it was. Like I said, it's uninspired, it's not very funny, the performances are phoning in at best. Jason Sudekis kind of stands out as he has I would say, the best moments of the film. Jason Bateman, who I've really liked in his film work, these three guys, it's like two levels. They're either way too hyper or they're way too relaxed. And obviously, I know that the humor of some of this stuff is that they've never committed a murder before. So, they would have no idea how to do it. But, I mean, there's just some common sense shit going on here, And, and I guess that's one of the things that offends me, is that, well, these guys, they're not stupid, but they're doing horrifically stupid things. And we're supposed to buy into that. I mean, if this were if it were a totally exaggerated comedy where just everything is just way the fuck out there, then I would buy that. But this film tries to steep itself in some sort of reality. And again, that's where it goes wrong, is that it's offensive to your intellect. It's offensive that a film like this is getting better reviews than some other films that I've seen this summer that have been better. And that's not the film's fault. That's the reviewer's fault. I'm all for R-rated comedies. Okay, I grew up on R-rated comedies. Oddly enough, films like The Blues Brothers, Trading Places. I mean, like the great films of John Landis. Those are some of the greatest comedies ever. I mean, without a doubt. And those are pretty hard R films. But, you can't make films like that anymore. Films about, comedies about race, comedies about class difference, comedies, anyway. There's just a lot of shit that you can't say in films nowadays because you have to be polite. You have to respect other people. Part of the reason that comedy exists is to not be nice all the time. It's one of the reasons I kind of enjoy the Comedy Central roast. Kind of. Not always, but kind of. Is because they do, nobody's safe. And that's what great comedy is. Like South Park. No one is safe in South Park, and that's how it should be. That's how that's how most great comedy is that anyone's a target. Whatever your, race, color, or creed is, it doesn't matter. And, this film, ultimately I would say is about a 3 out of 10. I'd say skip it almost entirely, wait until it's on free cable to watch. Okay, so anyway, that's my review of Horrible Bosses. Take it or leave it, thumb it up, thumb it down, comment, complain, criticize, Subscribe. Got some good stuff out there, people, so we'll see you later.